Hello, everybody. I think I'm live. I'm not sure. Maybe you could give me a sound check. Just a yes would be great. Hi, everybody. Brilliant. I got a sound check. That's great news. Welcome. We begin in 2 minutes. I just want to say hello to everybody. And what I'll try and do tonight, after listening to many people after the lives that I've done before, that I don't tend to interact enough. So I will promise to try and stop midway through, instead of getting too excited, and sharing as much as I can, as I do in my Pure Energy Healing course, 4-day course. So I'll try and stop and look at some of your questions. There may be a few people turn up because I'm shadow banned, so it's very difficult for anybody to see what I'm doing or how I'm doing it or where I'm doing it. But there might be 1 or 2 people who do jump on tonight and do see, that they've got a crystal and they want to know what it does and how it works. If I know what that crystal is, I will give you some of the things that have happened through the healing process with many of my clients and what that crystal did to help them. So it might be a little bit of a different take than, let's say, the Crystal Bible, but just be open to other suggestions from other healers like myself who's worked with crystals. The Bible, the Crystal Bible, isn't everything. It doesn't mean that that is 100% correct. And a lot of people find it a little bit challenging because they may get an amethyst and it doesn't work in the same way. And then they think there's something wrong with them or something wrong with the crystal, or it doesn't work. And therefore, it can, in theory, sometimes put people off, even though I have been told that the Crystal Bible does say that what I've just said. So I didn't know that. I just thought what was written down was exactly what this crystal did, and that's how I saw it. So it's something to think about. What I'm going to share with you guys tonight, if it's okay, is some of the practices that I've learned through shamanic healers, through psychics, through healers, through people who have worked with crystals for many, many years. And I gathered all of this experience, including my own practice. So I really do love to hear different people's perspectives on how to work with crystals, what you do with them, and how you use them, and what was the best method and what worked for you. These things I'm more interested in than selling crystals. I get more excited to see what happened to you and why. So it is now Spain time, 1 minute past 7. So welcome, everybody. It was, and as it always is, a brief moment of, okay, I think I'd like to do something tonight. And I have to feel in that mood to do something. I will not do anything if it doesn't feel right. If I don't want to do it, I won't do it. So if I'm doing something, it's because I want to do it, not because I'm forced to do it. So I enjoy, I mean, obviously crystals are my life. It's what I work with every day. I probably work with more crystals than most people on this planet. Even if you're a crystal miner, I mean, I work with them constantly. They're in my hand all day long. They're either around my neck. So I've been a crystal healer now for 2 decades. And in that time, over a span of maybe 3 months, I can handle 10,000 crystals. So you can imagine how many crystals that I handle. I've got crystals around me all the time, boxes of crystals everywhere, because my website is a crystal website. So I've just brought a few crystals here to explain the difference in energy, the frequency, and what I believe helped my clients, and what I saw from the energy which was coming off crystals, and what was happening. So that was something that I found fascinating as well. I didn't often see it, but when I did, it was like, wow, did I just see that? And it's beautiful. That experience, I wish I could replicate. I wish I could bottle it and sell it, because I'd be a multi-trillionaire. But these things, I don't think are an ABC 1, 2, 3. I think the things that we see in life are shown to us at certain moments, and then there has to be some kind of trust or belief or faith or something that allows us to then continue with that. I don't like to say faith because it sounds like religion, and it's not religion. Faith meaning that I believe it now. I've seen it once. I don't need to see it all the time. And then let go and know that that's the energy you're working in. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to click on some messages here and there. I don't know what it says, but absolutely 100%. That's my conclusion. That's what I've come to. However, there are times and moments where you just feel you're drawn to a certain crystal. And that's it, and whether you just have a thought or whether you pull to it or whatever. So I'm very open to using crystals in any way, shape and form. Sometimes I just don't have any feeling about a crystal, so I will just close my eyes and grab a crystal and then just work with it. So not every day you need a crystal. Some days your body is imbalanced, some days you're okay. So I might wear a crystal one day and not wear it the next. So that's how I kind of see it. I think having crystals dotted around the house is a pretty impressive thing to do. Having them in an altar is really beautiful. I love altars. I think they're great. But for me, it means that you have to walk to the altar. You have to sit by the altar. You have to feel the energy of the crystals on that altar, and then you go away. Whereas for me, I will have crystals like these, which are pointers, pyramid pointers, and put them in 4 corners of the room. I'll also put crystals all over the room as well. So I'm always getting the energy of high vibration, high frequencies of different crystals all the time. So, because what I mean is, if you've got like a room which is your special room, and it's it's your altar room, it's your temple kind of thing, you will go into that. But maybe you might be down the other end of the room or in your bedroom, and it seems a shame that we can't constantly have the energy of crystals around us, that we have to go to a certain place. But I like the idea of the temple, that little shrine that you can go to. So I love that as well. Yes, I have, and it's I've got some at the moment, actually. It's a difficult one because right at this moment, as I'm working with a few, I've only got, I think, two bits, something like that. I don't know if I've got any on the website. I've got my other computer here, so maybe I can look on my website if I've got some here. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yes, it's if I'm thinking it's if it's the same crystal, Cacox and Thai, I think maybe not. Maybe not. What color is it? If I just have a look on my website. And, CA. No, I think I may have a couple of pieces in the back there, but I don't have them on my website. So you'll have to excuse me on that one. I'm maybe not too familiar. And I think that might not be the same crystal as I'm looking at that name. So, yeah, sorry about that. I don't think I can help there. It's got the same kind of no, it's not chevron, is it? It looks like almost like quartz amethyst and super 7, and I'm not so sure if I've worked with that, because sometimes they call it one thing and it can be something else as well. I don't know. I'm not sure if I've worked with this crystal or not. As I'm looking at it, it looks like phantom quartz, but I don't know. I don't know, but it looks very beautiful. So I don't really know what to say about that one. Sorry about that. Because the problem with crystals is you can call it one thing and there might be 7 other bloody names. And like, imagine trying to, know all of them crystals. It's like, wow, it's difficult. Yeah, I think I've got some on my website as well. Powerful crystal, beautiful, great energy. Fantastic. It's not chevron, but it does look like super 7. Brilliant. Because it combination. Okay, great. Well, yeah, I've got some super 7s on my website, which I worked with a few weeks ago. Becoming more expensive every day, very expensive. All crystals are now going through the roof because of the demand. So what once you could buy for like £3 a gram, three or 4 a gram, it's now 8 and 9. It's just crystals are becoming so expensive. Anyway, let's talk about what's important. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for being here tonight. And the first crystal I'd like to grab hold of is this beauty. So what you're looking at here is a beautiful quartz, And if you look at it carefully, it's a great specimen. And it's called needle. And the reason why is because they're so tiny and they look like needles, right? So it's needle quartz cluster, and they call it a cluster. It's called a cluster because it's all clustered together. How do I use this crystal? Well, first of all, this crystal as a frequency and energy, whatever crystal that starts to have a pointer, the full energy moves directly to the point. These are all natural pointers, so they grow this way. So they have points. So when you see a crystal like this with a point on, as a healer, we're going to use that, and we're going to use it because it has the pointer. So I sometimes have it as a pointer here as well, so it can go inside there, and I'm holding it like this, and I can work on people with skin cancer and issues with the eyes, because soon as you've got that pointer there, you've got this energy coming out of the point, and it's like a blast of energy from the cosmos giving you the energy straight through into there. And there's been many times that I've been working on clients and their forehead is here, and I'm working on them, and then they can say, oh my God, I can feel that. I can feel it. I can feel the warmth and the movement. Are you going in circle? I can feel it now, actually, pulsating as I'm moving it. So, and it works ever so well. You get another pointer which might not be exactly the same as that. However, it would work lovely as a healer, grabs it here and then starts to work like this and massages it on the skin. Of course, you wouldn't be able to do that because that would hurt or it could cause an issue, but you wouldn't need to because you come away. So you'd be working like this on the eye. You know, when I make the movement, I follow the movement like clockwise, anti-clockwise, depending on what it feels like. When you're working with this, you can literally work on the skin and gently maneuver and go around. So both are pointers for sure, and they work in different ways. However, looking at this as a pointer, if I was working on clients, I would hold it in my hand like this, and then the pointers would be basically like 1,000, 2,000 bolts of light moving into the client as I'm working like this. Or I put this in the room, somewhere in the room, and just let it do its magic. And yeah, clear quartz is fantastic. Clear quartz, for me, on a side note, has the energy of clearing the energy of negativity, fear, worry in a room. Clear quartz is used by a lot of shamans, both native shamans of America and Peru. This kind of crystal is fantastic. It's used in so many different forms of shamanic tools. And yeah, I've been blessed a few times to have these tools given by shamans, but I always seem to give them away to somebody who really needs it. So I don't really have any shamanic tools anymore because I gave them all away to people that I felt needed it more than me. When you look at a crystal like this one, you see the pointer, and then you have a bigger crystal like this. The frequency is exactly the same. People believe that because it's bigger, it holds and has more power. I don't believe that at all. So I'll give you an example how I see energy from crystals. So if I've got this here and that one there, if it's suspended in the middle of the room and it shines from within it a bright light that shines everywhere like a light bulb, what difference in light would be given off from this one or a bigger one? Just the difference of the circumference of the bigger crystal to the smaller crystal, because you're going to generate the energy all around. So it's the same, big or small. So it's only preference. That's all it is. It's a preference. The size is only a preference. I've had moldavite slices 0.1 gram do more magic on clients than an 87 or 92 gram moldavite, which I used to own. So it's not about the size of any crystal. It's not about how beautiful it looks and how expensive it is. As long as it's not fake, you're okay. So you might come across something like this and think, wow, what a beautiful piece of turquoise. It is, but it's fake. It's a fake turquoise. However, inside here, if I'm to test it, it will come up crystal. And the reason why is because they ground powder together with resins and they create fake crystals which show up as crystals to monitors. So this only reason why I know this is fake is because it cost me, I think, $30 at one of the shows, and the guy was selling tons of it. You can see where the spray hasn't really kind of been too good there, but I think that was probably, they did that deliberately. I think they did this deliberately. Okay, but actually that's not turquoise, it's fake. And this is from China. So this would cost about $10 in China, $8 to $10 in China. So this guy bought, they normally come in huge metal tins, and you can buy them in China. You buy as much as you want. It's all fake. And then they ship them here. You get them here. You go to a show and you sell them at 30. You ain't doing so bad, really. You know, you can make yourself a hefty amount of money on fake. There is a kind of belief system that even this crystal will hold energy and good energy, and rightly so. If there is powder of crystal in here, it will hold memory for sure. But the only reason why I say that is because when you want to buy something, you want to buy it as what it's stated. So I find that fascinating. I really do. So let's see where we are now. All right, I don't know what that's got to do with anything. Sorry, I don't know. Sorry, guys, I don't know what that is. Huh. Sorry, I don't even know who that person was, but I've just had to block them. I really can't deal with this kind of stuff anymore. I really do struggle. Sorry, guys. Really, really struggle. There's so many at the moment. I know I shouldn't go on about it, but there's so much happening in my life right now with people trying to stop. And the more good I do, the more helpful, more loving. It's like, wow. I just can't believe how bad it's getting now. Not only is the world a circus, but people are absolutely losing their plot. And there's a lot of people being paid to do such bad stuff at the moment. Anyway, let's move on. I just wanted to see if any of you guys, you need. Oh yeah, I did, Gary. I think I blocked them. So yeah, sorry about that. It's hard to it's hard to go into something and focus on something and then focus on something else. So you know. I do as many healing sessions as possible whenever I'm feeling up to it, because I don't like to do healing sessions when I'm not feeling 100%. So, because there's no point otherwise. Okay, any questions on crystals so far? Question: what are good crystals for grief and the loss of a loved one? Well, the first one which always comes to mind is black tourmaline. It's always been something that's been fantastic. Losing a loved one, because black tourmaline has this energy of helping you clear not only the suffering, but at the same time, it somehow strengthens the connection to the spirit world, which means that if you feel your family in spirit, even though you don't know it because of this, even if you feel them around you in your consciousness, I don't know what it is with this, but it's our greatest block. So like my mum died when I was 12, and it took me ages to realize that, oh, my mum was around, and I used to feel her around, but I didn't know how to feel her. I didn't know, well, how do you reckon that's your mum or not? So when I became a healer, it's like I look back on my life and think, oh my God, she was around so many times and helped me so many times, but you can't put it into words. So black tourmaline for me is my go-to when it comes to grief, because it does twofold. It heals, but it strengthens the connection to your beautiful spirit world and family. So there are lots more crystals you can go for, but when it's to do with a loved one, black tourmaline is the one that I would definitely go to 100% every time. So somebody, yeah, Apache Tia, beautiful. Apache Tia, it's a great, actually, that's brilliant. Well done. Yes, brilliant. Yeah, you guys know what you're talking about. Gaining energy, not sure that makes it. Of course, it makes sense. Yeah, but I always feel tired. Yeah, I did a video today about Mookite, M. Mooka. Mookite. Did I spell that right? Mookite. Mookite. Is there a C? I don't think there's a C in there. Am I putting a C in there? Oh, anyway, Mookite. Oh, you should know your spellings, Mark, even though I'm crap at spelling. So it's spelled Mook, Mook, Aite, Mookite. I've found that this crystal Mookite it really is generating great energy. I wore it, I don't know, 6 hours. And afterwards I thought, wow, I feel like I'm it's not a rejuvenation. It feels like I'm building up energy. So that is definitely an energy crystal for sure, Mookite. So that's something you can look at. Right, so here's another crystal, beautiful. And as you can see, there's little tiny but quite fat pieces, not like the little ones. So this is a baby crystal because of the baby little needles. But now you can see that this is older because the needles are thicker and bigger. That's how I see it. Now, if I show you this one, they're the same but very tiny on there. Okay, this one's quite an interesting crystal. If you look at that side, oh, look at that. Bit of green tourmaline, I think, on there. That looks beautiful, eh? So what's the difference of this one? Do you know what? I love to generate energy by putting them on here. And if I'm doing psychic work or healing work or connecting to spirit, anything to do with meditation and connecting to the other world, placing my hand on here, one hand underneath, one hand here, and then put it down on my knees and then meditate that way. Wow, fantastic. You've got all these pointers pointing up at you and giving you that energy. You've got this hand, which is here. So the universal energy pours through, whether it comes through the legs from Mother Earth, whether it comes through spirit, whether it comes through the top, it pours through the hands. That's what it does. If you look at all the pictures, hands are important. One hand giving, one hand receiving. So you're receiving here, right? So that energy comes through and, oh, it's great. One hand here, one hand here. You feel receiving and giving, receiving. So you're not only charging the crystal, but the crystal then is giving you its energy. So it's like a dynamo. You're putting the energy of riding the bike, and then that energy is being poured into the dynamo, into the crystal. So then the crystal gives you more energy. Fabulous when you think about it. I have a love for crystals. This, I believe, is Lemurian. And this crystal, if I'm holding it like this, it doesn't matter if it's not perfect, and it's okay. If it's got a point, you work with that point, and you work with your third eye. You work with your temples. You can work with all your chakras, go down and cleanse and clear them. So that's fantastic. I love working with crystals that way. When I'm working with certain crystals that I want to it's difficult working with this, right, unless it's in my hand. So I work with these in my hand. They're fantastic for working in your hand. That's why I always have these kind of crystals. So I'll sit down and I'll just choose, say, 2. So I might have a dendrite and what looks like a smoky quartz. So I'll just sit and meditate with them crystals. And then I'll swap and try another 2 crystals. So I'll work with 2 other different, maybe try something a little bit lighter, blue calcite and rose quartz. So I just work on a gentler energy. Or if I want to boost and go heavier, I'll go for something like a moldavite. When you go to a slightly bigger size, you can work with that slightly different as well. You can, the slightly bigger sizes are a little bit flatter then. So, easier to work on the body, easier to rest. And then when you get more of these kind, then that's even easier. So you can place them anywhere you want and they won't fall off. So I'd only kind of use the spheres for my hand because they'll roll off. On a side note, you won't be able to see, but my floor is made of tiles because in Spain it's hot, so it's all tiles. So what I did, I don't think you can see, but what I did is put carpet down. So as a side note, don't work with crystals if you're anywhere near tiles, because you'll just break them. The chances are they might fall off and they'll break. So whenever you work with crystals, always think what's below. What happens if your crystal falls? Is it going to fall on, something that like is a tile? It's going to break. The chances are it's going to break. Whereas the chances of it breaking on carpet is very slim. So always remember when you work with crystals, try and work with them on a rug or a carpet. So if you're a healer and you're going to do healing work, bring a rug with you. I used to have a rug with me, a fold-up rug, and I had my healing bed, and I'd always put the rug. And it was quite big, so people used to look at me strange in Spain. And I'm saying, well, I'm working with crystals. If one of my crystals happens to roll off, well, it wouldn't do that. Okay, then let's do it then without the rug. Then the client falls asleep, and then she wakes up suddenly, and the crystal flies off her. And I've just smashed a moldavite, or I've smashed a beautiful piece of, whatever it may be, something beautiful. I'm like, oh. So always remember when you're working with crystals, make sure you've got a good, nice rug or carpet underneath. It's just a little thing to remember. So when you're working with something like this crystal, you've got millions or hundreds of thousands of tiny little crystals, because this is a baby crystal. Just like here, let me show you. So this here is a baby crystal. Okay, you can see that. That's a baby crystal inside there. That's only a young crystal. And this one is slightly older. This is how I see it anyway. Could be completely wrong, but this is what I was taught. And let me see if I can find an even older one. And this is a slightly older one. See how they grow and they get bigger. So it kind of makes sense, right? So this is a beautiful piece of natural amethyst, high quality, very, very beautiful. I'll use this for meditation. It's normally quite heavy, so I put it both knees and then place both my hands on them because it's too heavy to have the other hand underneath. And or if I'm sat in a seat, I'll purposely put it somewhere where I can rest my hand on it as an absolute centerpiece for a room. This is like, I mean, isn't that gorgeous? So I'm just going to leave that down. Yeah. Now, you can't wear that as a necklace, but isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous. I'm just showing off now, that's all. I'm just showing off. Isn't that lovely? Yes, I do love my crystals. I've got two angels by my side, look. Oh, they're too beautiful, too cute, too gorgeous. Okay, I don't know what that says. No idea what's going on tonight. Yeah, it truly is. Very good. Yeah, Shiva Stone, very good. Excellent. Any questions? Any questions, guys? No, different energy, Gary, for me. Very different, but very, very special. All crystals are special. Doesn't matter if they're preheated or not. I've never had an issue with crystals that have been heated. I love the ones which are painted as well. I have no issues with that. Some people get very upset, very angry. Doesn't bother me anymore. All crystals are beautiful. It's just like I have pink moonstone and it's foil wrap. So I blue moonstone, foil wrap, foil blue, foil pink, still moonstone, still beautiful. But oh, do people get very, very upset? I don't mind at all. I have cherry quartz, it's glass, but working with it, putting good energy into it, it works because I've said this before, you know, what's glass when all's said and done? It's sand. And what is sand? It's crystals. Sand is crystals. You look under the microscope and the crystals. So yeah, I don't really have any issues with that anymore, as long as we know, I guess. And sometimes, you know, you try and be as honest as you can, and sometimes you might forget certain things when you're talking about them. But yeah, I have no issues with. I absolutely love amethyst, which has been fired. Love it. But there's a massive difference between natural amethyst. The energy is very, very different, but both very beautiful. So I have no issues with that at all. Question: if you could choose only one crystal, which would it be and why? I've said this before. I'd choose me every time. That'd be it. I am the most powerful crystal in the world, so I choose me, and nothing is stronger than me. Moldavites disappear for many reasons, and I write about this in my book. Rejuvenating its energy, going back to source, mother home, vibrating out a frequency so it can be used for somebody else. It could actually, you know, it's beyond our understanding. Moldavite is completely different to other crystals. It has a different frequency and vibration, and what it does to us, and what it does, how it manifests and disappears, and it's different. It's just different. It vibrates out of our eyesight, so it could still be there and then vibrates again at the same place. It can be moved. It can move. So I know it sounds, when I talk like this, it's like I can't believe anybody still listens to me, but I know what I know. I used to have a little healing room above Tickle Pink in Mias Pueblo, and it was half the size of this room, and I had all my crystals in there, and I knew where every crystal was, and nobody went upstairs. Nobody, only me. And my moldavite had disappeared, and I used to laugh because it would reappear. Sometimes it might be a day, it might be a week, it might be a month, sometimes it could be 3 years. And then, like, because when I used to go home on a night, I used to wear maybe 10 or 15 crystals around my neck. Now, I did used to give crystals away through the day as well, which are around my neck. So I always used to think, oh, what did I give away today? But most of the time, I'd have 3 particular crystals on me all the time. And if I was to give away, say, a moldavite, it would be normally from a collection that I had at the side, which were ready to give to clients. And the crystal I had around my neck, which was a moldavite, was probably valued at about £800, and that was 12 years ago. So this was my working crystal. So I really need to keep this one because it would work in such a way for me. But I had other crystals of moldavite. So I'd like, oh, okay, this client needs a moldavite. So I used to give a healing session for 120 euros, which was a full psychic reading and a full healing. And I'd give the client a crystal that was worth twice as much. So it wasn't about the money. It was just about what the client needed. And spirit doesn't add up how much something is. And I often had like crystals valued at €1,000, and I'd be giving it to my client because spirit says they need that crystal. Just came from nowhere. And I used to have fights with spirit saying, oh, can't I give him something else? Please, not that one. I've just got it. But that was needed for that client because whatever energy was in that crystal, and spirit doesn't look at monetary value. So I had to learn to stop looking at monetary value. That's why people say to me, why'd you give so much away? Why would you? Like, well, just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. I do it because it just feels right. So, yeah. I got myself into trouble many times on a personal note because I might not have had food on the table at home, and I got a daughter, and I'd have money in a safe or crystals given away to people, and it was like, but you're meant to be making a living. You need to pay your mortgage and stuff, and I used to cry because, like, imagine. You're right. You're absolutely right. I have to pay the mortgage. You're right. I need food on the table to feed my daughter and feed the dogs. But it's like, why am I punished for doing good? And it's the same here. I do a lot of good all the time. Why am I punished for that? Why are we punished for doing good? It's weird. It's strange. And I've never really truly understood it. You know, I do understand that there's always darkness trying to stop light. I get all of that. But it's almost like darkness is rewarded. People who do bad things are rewarded for it all the time. Where is the reward from love of spirit? Where is the protection from love of spirit? Maybe they're not meant to be. Maybe we have to be the protector. Maybe we have to be stronger than that. So that's like, you know, get over it. Pull your socks up and do the best you can and let the rest of the world deal with it. So when it comes to crystals, for me, if I take my crystals off, put them on the bedside, because we have to half side 4-poster bed. I always used to take my crystals off and put them on the 4-poster bed, and then in the morning, moldavite would gone. Like my best moldavite, where's it gone? And like, oh my God, you know, I'm looking at like. I can't believe it. I need to work with it. But it's okay, because then when I get to work, I put another one on, work with that. And once that's done and worked with, right, I go back home. It's there, put it back on in the morning. It's back again. I put it on. And then the same day a client comes, And what she needed was that moldavite that I worked with for 2 days. So it's like there's so many reasons why crystals disappear. And I find it fascinating. So I don't know if I answered that correctly, but you know, that's kind of like where I see it. So I'm aiming to safely relocate to a different country. Good for you. Well done, you. Gaia, me too. Not sure where I'm gonna go. Okay. We can save the world. We will assist the universe. Nice. I like that. Sabupakastika. Which crystal is good for digestion? Right. Stomach crystals. Right. Depending on what the issue, Jennifer, is with digestion. Okay. Because if it's stress, you have to clear the stress from the stomach. Depending on what that stress is, what the root cause of the stress is, whether it's to do with money, because you're stressed out about money, whether you're stressed out about the future, it's difficult. So I normally go for Tektite. I stick Tektite down on my tummy all the time. I wear Tektite all the time on my stomach. And for me, I wear it through the night. And what I like to do is, my favorite thing is, find it. Exactly, I found it. So this is what I like to do, right? I like to get this oil, which is called cleansing oil. And the cleansing oil has 100% Palo Santo in. Palo Santo is one of the best natural trees that clears negative energy. When you rub it on your back and rub it on your stomach and then place the Tektite on your stomach and you lay down and place one hand to mother to the spirit world like this, and one hand on your stomach, and just leave it there for half an hour, you can clear that energy very quickly. So I love Tektite for cleansing and clearing, and I love my cleansing oil for clearing and cleansing. So focusing and anxiety, see, they're two different energies, so you need two different crystals. So first of all, like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I'm drawn straight away to say that if I'm looking at focusing, I'd be looking for you. Feels like a beautiful piece of Herkimer diamond. This opens you up and helps you focus. By doing that, instead of like, that would be the first thing I do, right? Because once you've got the focus, you find that anxiety disappears. You don't have anxiety if you're focused. If you're focused, you see what you need to do, you know where you need to go, and you're on with it. So there is no anxiety thereafter. So personally, I would go for a Herkimer diamond, and I would use it in the way of the third eye often on an eye. I'd stick it on my forehead and wear it around my neck, but higher up. And I would use that for the next month and watch and see how clear you become, and how your own energy as a crystal becomes stronger and stronger, because there's something about Herkimer diamond, big or small, that it amplifies the good. It amplifies the it amplifies the gift that you are. It doesn't amplify negativity. It doesn't amplify fear. It doesn't amplify depression or disease. It doesn't amplify any of that. It amplifies the strong, the positive, the light within us and within other crystals. So I wouldn't waste your money on two. I'd just go for the one to start with. I've had tons of weird experiences with crystals. Tons, and I'm sure you guys have as well. I'm trying to find other questions. Okay. Well, Gaia, Love Warrior, You say you can't afford a trio. Okay, no problem. Here you go. That's for you. Just, I'll put this to one side, and I'll tell the girls. I hope you're happy with this as well. Okay, there you go. I'll make sure that goes to the office tomorrow, and we'll get that sent to you. I hate it when people can't afford anything. It breaks my heart. I know, because I've been there and done it. So, any questions on? Thank you so much for the information. Any more questions, guys? Hi for me. Watching my I develop dark spots or all over, change colour, and then see an eye appear on it. It really seemed like an eye. It was lost soon after. Wow, amazing. Wearing my lemon quartz. We love lemon quartz. Hard to get hold of now. I tried to buy some last week. I can't afford it anymore. It's ridiculous. Somebody offered me some. They want £9 a gram. After, sending it to Bali, mounting it, paying for the Balinese to mount the silver on there, sending it back. It's like, forget it. It's just so expensive. But if you've got genuine lemon quartz, which it's not easy, a lot of it's copy from China and India. But yeah, if you really have a genuine lemon quartz, good for you. Good for you. I absolutely love lemon quartz. I absolutely love it. Genuine lemon quartz. Nice one, Terry. Well done. Fantastic crystal. Blows me away every time I use it. Love the trios. Thank you. I wear it every day. Yeah, me too, Jen. I wear Moldavite, Herkimer Diamond, and Tektite every day nearly. I mean, most of you don't see me because I have to put put this on and another different crystal, because I have to work with them and feel them and see what they feel like, and see if I can then counter it with working with the crystal. So I have to feel them and see what they feel like. I have to write it down through the day. I've got tons of writings everywhere on certain crystals, and this feels like this. I write it down, and then what I do is I look what the feelings were through the day, write it down, how I felt it helped me. This is only the first day. I work with crystals sometimes 20-30 days before I put, even if it's 10 crystals. So it's beautiful, but it takes some work. So then when I've written down what that crystal helped me that week, then I sit down and see how I can put a memory into that crystal which complements the crystal. So I don't go too far off. I stay close, meaning like if you're not feeling well, you want to feel better. If you want to connect with spirit, well, you want to fine tune your third eye or your pineal gland. So I try and add to what that crystal felt like. Now, that works really well. And people buy my crystal because they like them, because, it feels different. But not all crystals work the way they work for me. So if I'm working with this crystal and then you end up, getting it as a gift, or just you end up buying it, then it might work completely different for you. So it's kind of so wide open, but there's got to be a point where you've got to have a certain focus when you're working with crystals. And I need a certain focus. So my template is look, feel, look. So I might be drawn to something straight away, and then I'll feel it. Or I might not look at any and just feel them and then look at them. So if I'm at a big show and there's 10,000 stands, I have to feel, first of all, before I even go to a stand, that stand has good energy. So you can have stands where people are just not nice people. I don't want to deal with people who are not nice. So I vet every single person that I deal with. They've got to be passionate, one. They've got to do it out of love, one. Everything else afterwards, no problem. But your passion has got to be crystals. If your passion is about money and profit, I'm not interested in you. If you're a nasty person and you're nasty with people and you don't give a shit about telling them about the crystal, I'm not interested in you. Don't care about you. So I kind of, my work is every crystal that I work with and every crystal that I find comes with beautiful energy. I know where I buy them from. I know that they are sourced correctly. I know that they are what's called fair trade. So they're not slaves. So these are the things that I work on. That's why when people buy a crystal from a shop and say, oh, it's lovely, if somebody buys it from me, people will literally say that I've never felt like this before. I've cried. And I thought, right, well, I'm doing something right. So I go with integrity. I go with what feels right. And sometimes I go with what looks right. I don't have a template over further than that. But then after that, I work with the crystal. So I will have a base of a crystal. So behind me, you can see the Moroccan clear quartz. I will put the crystals in there to start with. That's the first thing I do when I've got them, after I felt them and I think, okay, these are lovely to work with. I put them in there. I've got two big, and I just put them in there and leave them there, maybe for 2 or 3 days. Then they come out and then they go into a singing bowl, which is a Moldavite singing bowl. So I'll give energy. And that's then the start of me working on the crystals. It might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3, it might be 6. And I work with them crystals and feel the energy of them and write that down. And when I'm ready and think, okay, this feels right, then I'll add what I feel I need to put into them. It might be 3 hours, it might be 10, it might be 50 hours. I don't know till I know it's ready. Once it's ready, then they go onto the website. That's how I work with crystals. So it's a long process, and not to mention that they have to go to Bali to be mounted. Okay, brilliant. Yes. Looks like you're having a good chat, which is great. So I think let's just focus a little bit now on this idea of cleansing crystals, energizing crystals. First of all, I've come to understand that after being programmed to cleansing crystals, that over the years I did this out of love, and I did it because it made me feel better. But in truth, did I ever touch a crystal that I felt needed cleaning and cleansing? And I can honestly say no. I can tell you this: I was programmed by a lot of healers and crystal healers and people who worked with crystals and crystal shops, that, oh, you must cleanse your crystal in the sunlight, you must do this, you must do that. First of all, I had a little room, and in that room there was a skylark, so there weren't tons of light, and I had crystals in there, 5,000 crystals in there, boxed everywhere. And there was never a time that I got a crystal after giving healings to people and said, oh my God, this doesn't work anymore. Never was a time that I felt that this crystal, the only time I felt I needed to put the crystals in sunlight is when when a memory came up of when people told me, oh, the moon's out now, the sun's out now, you should charge your crystals. So I did it because I was told to do it, but my instinct never told me to charge a crystal. And the reason why I believe that is that crystals have a permanent energy, just like water, just like stone, just like everything, a piece of glass or whatever. Everything has an energy, it's a frequency. And to change that frequency, especially when we talk about negativity or heavy energy or dirty energy, There's never been a time that I've seen the energy of a crystal leave to end up with nothing. Never. That crystal there, as I've used this crystal for, I don't know, 15 years, I've never cleansed it. When I hold that, I can feel the energy of this amethyst. I have used this on what you would call a Hollywood exorcism loads of times. Okay, I've done loads of exorcisms with this. I've cleared the darkest energies with this. I have worked with people who are the nastiest people in the world who held this, never altered the energy of this crystal. So the only thing that I found was that it was fascinating. The more I was happy and laughing, and the more I held this crystal with love, the more I did healing work, which was the energy of spirit or high energy, this crystal just like felt, when I'm holding it, it feels like, wow, I feel more. I never felt demonic energy. I never felt bad energy. I only felt more love when I was doing healing work. So it holds memory of high vibration. It's like a computer. You're adding a memory into there, but only with high energy, not with low. It's almost like it doesn't, it can't sit. Negative energy cannot sit in a crystal because the crystal admits its own frequency. But if you can get your frequency high enough of positive energy, which is what this is, high energy wave, then you can vibrate at the same frequency. And for some reason, the reason why I said this is because why is it that my clients were healing from certain issues that this crystal was always on top of another client prior to them with the same issue? Like, this is why I wrote about these things, because I could be completely wrong and you could come up with a different theory, but my theory has worked this far. And I don't care whether you might think, well, maybe you aren't putting good energy into it, Mark. Maybe it's just good energy anyway. I'd say absolutely. But why is it that people will say, and they did at the beginning, they'd say, Mark, I don't know what it is, but I buy crystals all the time from different crystal stores, and I go to here and there, but I don't know what it is. But when I've got your crystal, it's like I want to cry. I can feel the healing. It's like, okay, so there must be something in this. It's not like I made it up. It's not like I did it because this is a good idea. I did it because of my clients telling me, and they made me believe them. So I only believe this because of what I saw through my clients' healing. So for me, do you need to cleanse your crystals? I don't think so. Does Mark cleanse his crystals? Yeah, it makes me feel good. I like to put them out in the sun. It's beautiful. I don't put them in the moon because it's not my energy. I put them in the sun. I bury them. A lot of the times I bury them to give the energy back to Mother Earth. But maybe Mother Earth is cleaning it. I don't know. But I do know this. I've never met a crystal that I didn't love. And I've never met a crystal that had negative energy. So it's hard for me to say, yes, you need to cleanse your crystal, because I've never met a crystal that was negative. So I'd just be lying to you. But I did at the beginning go through the process of what my clients went through. And I used to put rice in my clients' hands, right? I don't know where I got that from. I just felt one day I need to put rice in their hands. The reason I probably did it is because I used to put it around a circle, and people used to go into the circle. I used to put rice in there, and it was like, I'm doing it to absorb negative energy. So then I put it in people's hands before I did a healing session, and then they'd feel all this energy pour into their hands, and like they felt better. So I thought, okay, well, if the rice is good for the clients and it's pouring negative energy into the rice, then get a rice bowl and put my crystals in there. Did it make any difference? Not really, but I'm going to do it anyway because it kind of, does it make sense or doesn't it make sense? It doesn't matter. Let's just do it. I noticed from my own visual moments when I was seeing things around people very strongly at the very beginning of my healing work, which I was 38 years old. Prior to that, I never saw anything. But because I was like working with energy, I used to go down to the sea, and I remember just sitting there once, being down at the sea, not knowing why. And it was a heavy day. And I was watching these people, and it was like my eyes were like, am I seeing what right? I could see this dark energy leaving people and being sucked into the sea. And I could see people looking really negative, going to the sea, coming back out, and then they've got this lovely energy around them. And it was only at that time that I realized that the sea is a vacuum cleaner for our negative energy. So I got a bucket of that water, brought it back up here, and started doing healing work and thinking, well, if I can get that negative energy from the client to go into the bucket of water, because it's the same, it's the sea, and it worked. So then I thought, well, I wonder if it had happened with crystals. So I put my crystals into the sea salt. Did it make any difference? Didn't really see much of a difference to the crystal, but I did to the client. So for me, I just, the things that I went into a crystal store in LA, and there was this guy dressed up like a wizard who owned the store. And every single crystal that he sold, and it was great watching him. He was doing TV as well. So he's kind of famous psychic in there. So I was kind of like laughing, really. It was kind of comical. But every time a client sat down, he'd have, oh, beautiful, lovely piece of, now he'd talk, hey, beautiful piece of, blah, blah, blah. And then he'd get a Palo Santo stick and just waft it underneath it and then give it to them, wrap it up and give it to them, right? So I have Palo Santo sticks, and I go around my body with a Palo Santo stick, and it clears my negative energy, totally clears it. It's incredible, right? I go around this as it cleared, and it doesn't really hold negative energy. Why am I doing it? So if you understand, I don't mean to be negative. I don't mean to sound like I'm disrespecting anybody. I'm not. I could be completely wrong. But what I'm saying is, I believe that our crystals do two things. One, they feed, in a sense, with high frequency, which turns into a memory, just a memory. And that memory is in the crystal. So it's an added energy. So that I kind of understand, okay, because of my clients telling me this. Secondly, if I'm feeling really, really bad and I pick this crystal up and I feel I need it, I feel that this crystal emits an energy of a memory within the crystal that will melt away whatever my issue is. Okay. So the crystal is always going to have its memory. I've never had a crystal that's lost its memory. So, and here's where it becomes really difficult as well, because people will say to me, Mark, my crystal worked, but it doesn't anymore. And it upsets me, because it's like, do you think that the crystal is always going to help if that issue is resolved? It's like, I cut myself today, right? So I've got a cut here. I heal it, it's gone, but I want you to heal it again. Well, it doesn't need healing. It's already healed that. Well, then you're no good at what you do. Why am I no good at what I do? Because you're not healing it again. I don't feel what I felt from you before. Yeah, because there's nothing to heal there anymore. And we so want a crystal to work in, like, no, you don't understand what it means when we say work. What do you mean work? Well, I felt the connection of the spirit world and I don't feel it anymore. Well, maybe what happened is it healed you and strengthened that part. So now you have to then move forward in that connection. It's almost like we want a tablet to fix us. We want a crystal to help us do this and do that, and we want it to always do that. I think a crystal is the gateway to our crystal, who we are. So I'm a crystal. I'm the strongest and powerfulest crystal there is. I have thousands of crystals in me. If I take this crystal and it helps me awaken a certain part of this crystal body of mine, that I see something, it's at that point that I now need to work on that and keep bringing that back. So if I give somebody a healing session, it's like giving them a seed of light. You can dampen that light out because of something, or you just don't want to look at that anymore, and that light just disappears. Or you can focus on that energy, and you can make it stronger and stronger. And then you realize, wow, it's not the crystal. The crystal just helped awaken or cleared away something from me, for me now to continue that healing or that connection. That's how I see crystals. Everybody that I've met who is disappointed with crystals is because they're not willing to do the work. That's what I noticed. But the people, the 1% who say, okay, now I know what I need to do, and they start to do it, they start to meditate more, they start to do more, I don't know, connecting to the spirit world. But it's not the crystal that connects you to the spirit world per se. The crystal helps you clear away so that you become the connector, because you are the greatest and most powerful antenna, and you can attune to anything. It's just that we sometimes have a little bit of corrosion. We sometimes have physically a little bit of issues of drinking too much water, which calcifies the pineal gland, and so on. It's not just that, it's many things. We might have some really deep-rooted issues of fears of ghosts. So we're frightened of really connecting, because do I really want to connect and hear a voice from the spirit world? Freak out. And there is something in this, and my sister told me this once, and it was quite amazing, actually. I was only young, and she said, I saw my mum last night. And I'm like 14 years old. Where did you see her? She was in my bedroom. And I went, why can't I see her? And she says, it's probably because it had upset you and scare you very, very much. And I'm like, yes, she's right. I was angry. I was upset. Why didn't she come to me? But I went away and sat down and thought about it and thought, no, she's right. If my mum suddenly appeared, whether it's in my dream or now, I'd freak out, or I wouldn't be able to cope. So I think spirit world knows this as well. And since then, I've connected to my mum many a times, and I actually love it. Have I seen her? No, I haven't seen her. I don't have that gift to see her, but I feel her. And that's enough for me. That's enough. So sorry, I digressed and went off the conversation at hand. You know where we go. Yeah, it's lovely to hear other people's experiences. Meditation crystals and being grateful, happy throughout the day, which that's not really easy to do, is it? To be grateful all day long when we're in a world of madness. I use sacred geometry. Nice. That's beautiful. Uplifting one about it. Well done, Gaia, love warrior. You're a lovely soul. Thank you for being amazing. You're all amazing. Yeah, a lot of people get really upset because they want to see, and I think that we all have like certain. I don't call them gifts. It's just like, you know, a blind man can hear more, and a deaf person can see better, and like we're all different. So I mentioned I'm going to try and get Jackie Weaver on for a podcast, and Jackie was on the Richie Allen radio show not so long ago. She's like an animal whisperer. She's an animal healer, and yeah, I've been an animal healer for years. I used to work with horses for a long time, and I used to work with lots of beautiful dogs and cats and different animals. And it'd be nice to get somebody like Jackie on to be able to give her understanding on healing and how she sees or how she feels, and what a lot of my stories that I tell is normally I'm not even looking, and I find that when I'm trying to look I never see anything, and yet I can be walking down a street and I can see a dog, and then the dog disappears, and then I'll say to the person, where's that dog? And they'll say, what dog? And I'll say, the dog that was just around you. And I can say, like, it's happened so many times. It could be a collie, it could be a little Jack Russell, it could be a cat. And I'll say it and they'll say, oh, I've just lost a dog just like that. And they'll be crying. And it's like happened to me loads of times, but I don't look for it. And it's not a gift that I can switch on and off. And that's and I hate the word gift, because we're all gifted. And yeah, anyway, I digress. Oh, bless. Well, guys, I think we've had a lovely chat tonight. I'm wishing you all a lovely, lovely evening. I just wanted to share that with you. What I've given tonight, because I'm going to upload this onto YouTube, and if somebody likes it, there might just be one person who thinks, oh, this is really good, I'd like to learn more. I have what's called the Pure Energy Healing Academy. And the Pure Energy Healing Academy is basically the work that I've done over 20 years. And I put all of the work with crystals on a 4-day course. And I created this course in Europe, in a beautiful hotel in the mountains. And I had the lovely Leila Sati by my side helping me. And we had a group of lovely people doing healings with crystals. This was all recorded professionally, and it was done over 4 days. We took that 4 days recording and we created an online 4-day course. So if ever you feel that you'd like to learn more about crystals and understand how to work with them, put them on clients and so on, I really, really do recommend this course from the bottom of my heart. It's changed a lot of people's lives. It's a lovely course. It's not done like my tarot course, which was a bit raw and rough, but it was done very professionally. It cost literally 25,000 euros to do properly. So you can imagine it wasn't cheap. We had the best of the best doing it all. And it's just great. We made it so it's easy. But the one thing that I would ask is that you would do the course with respect. And that is to take 4 days off, because you've got 2 weeks to do the course. But I would appreciate if you do it in the 4 days. So follow the 4-day course. And at the end of it, you'll receive a certificate as a certified pure energy healer. Not that it means that much, but it's still, some people would need that if they want to become a full-time healer and get insurance. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because I don't plug it enough. I don't talk about it enough. I should talk about it every day, because I'm proud of the Pure Energy Healing Academy. So I'll leave it at that. The Pure Energy Healing Academy.com. Go and have a look. There are 2 courses on there only. One is to become a pure energy healer, and the other is to become a pure energy crystal healer. So yeah, it's food for thought. Maybe next year you might want to do it. And if you do, then that would be great. We need more healers in this world. So until tomorrow, I'm wishing you all a lovely evening. Thank you for joining me here. I think we've been on for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Love you all. And I hope you enjoyed this little chat. And from my heart to yours, take care. Bye for now. Bye, everybody.